Hey guys, welcome to this week's new episode of the Blown Fuse podcast. If you're new here, the Blown Fuse podcast is a shorter styled podcast that features the week's latest tech news and deals. Consider subscribing or following on whichever platform you're watching on so that you don't miss out. Let's get into this week's tech news now. Alright guys, so let's start off with Apple because they always seem to have a ton of news. So first off, Apple Music High Fidelity is coming pretty soon. And so basically a message was found in the Android app, which basically says lossless audio files preserve every detail of the original file. Turning this on will consume significantly more data. And so this clearly shows us that lossless audio or like high fidelity audio is coming to Apple Music pretty soon. And we have leaks that Dolby Atmos and spatial audio will also be all in Apple Music. So it seems like they want to compete with Tidal and Amazon Music HD. And honestly, I can see this coming pretty soon. And the interesting thing is we also might be seeing AirPod 3s very soon because those are going to come with high quality speakers, and that fits in perfectly with the high fidelity audio in Apple Music. And all of this is coming around next month is what we're hearing. And now let's look at some leaks of iOS 15 and things that were supposed to come to iOS 14 but didn't and will probably come in iOS 15. So we're gonna get a lot more customization things, or that's what we're hearing about. First of all, we probably will get dark app icons in dark mode, which is actually really cool. So basically there would be a darker version of app icons for when you're in dark version and a lighter version, just like everything else, and I think that'll match it very nicely. We also will probably get ambient theming. Right now we have a auto theming, which it'll switch from light and dark based on sunrise and sunset timing, but ambient theming will use the light sensor in your iPhone to figure out if it's a light or dark situation and change based on that and not based on sunset and sunrise data. So this would be very cool, and this is definitely something I can see Apple doing because it just seems like a Apple-ish thing to do. And then another thing we are probably going to see is customizable home screen icons. I'm really excited about this, and like this is with ease, not having to run shortcuts or anything. And this could consist of like apps icon style packs that are available from Apple or like third parties that you can straight apply in the settings app. And honestly, if they do this, they're gonna make a lot of people happy, and I want to see this. Apple, if you're watching this, which you're obviously not, please, customizable home screen icons. We want them. Alright, and now let's talk about Tesla. So full self-driving subscription should be coming in a month or so, and so this will basically let users not have to buy the $10,000 option while ordering the car for full autopilot, and this will be like a monthly subscription which gives you access to full self-driving, and it'll probably be around $100 a month, which clearly tells you it's not a financially good option if you're going to be like using it a lot. If you're going to be using it like probably for like a month and then you won't need it, or maybe you're going on a road trip and you want it for that road trip, then like, you know, you could buy for a month and then leave the subscription. But I really want to know, who is this targeted towards? Like, is this towards the people who do the road trip type of thing, or like somebody else? And so now this next story, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have already heard of, but Tesla is not going to be accepting Bitcoin now due to environmental concerns. So basically Elon Musk tweeted that they're going to stop using Bitcoin for Tesla purchasing because he was concerned about the energy that is needed to mine these coins and the environmental impact, and that made the Bitcoin price drop like instantly. Alright, and so now this next story is actually very interesting, and basically it's about how Tesla is kind of creating a locked ecosystem like Apple. So some users of old Teslas are starting to report like battery loss, slower charging speeds, and lower acceleration after software updates. It seems like Tesla is degrading the specs of old Teslas, and this seems like similar to Apple, which they do to like some of the older tech. They make it slower with software updates, and it kind of forces you or like pushes you to buy the latest models. And honestly, Apple doing it, still, it's like, okay, it's $1,000 phone, but Tesla doing this, it's $100,000 car. It's not something that like people are going to be pushed to. And honestly, after like 6 years, it requires degrading its performance because of software updates and stuff. People might be pushed to not buy a Tesla again. So maybe this could work against them. Like with Apple, it's still acceptable. It's not as expensive as a Tesla. So I can't wait to see how this is gonna play out, and like, is this gonna become more obvious, and will Tesla choose the right path and not do this like Apple? Alright, now moving on to our next story, which is pretty much a national issue right now, the Colonial Pipeline hack. So a group called DarkSide hacked the Colonial Pipeline, compromising America's energy grid, and these attacks are pretty common, but the interesting thing, and the only reason I'm covering it, is so these are usually done for money, but this time the hackers unknowingly were going for the money, but they hit a particular part of the system which shut down the pipelines. This shows how vulnerable the pipeline and energy system of America is, and how it's not very strong. Like a single hack from a beginner hacking group just shut down like a ton of pipelines and put many places in a gasoline shortage. Alright, and next up, Intel released their 11th Gen 8 series mobile processors this week, and Asus, Razer, and many other companies have already made laptops to showcase these new chips, and Alienware seems to be working on some major thermal improvements, including some new thermal pads and a possibly new quad fan design for their X series laptops. And this is actually pretty cool. Intel did do pretty good with the 11th gen, but not as good as everyone expected. Obviously, in mobile processors, the performance is obviously lower than the desktop ones, but even in the 11th gen desktop, in my personal opinion, I wasn't pretty impressed with it. It just wasn't impressive. Like, they can do better. And now next up, Xiaomi is not blacklisted in United States anymore, guys. That's actually a pretty big thing. So under the Trump administration last year, Xiaomi got blacklisted because they thought it was a communist Chinese company, but the Department of Defense has now agreed that they are not, and they're letting Xiaomi continue sales back to normal in the United States. And this is pretty good because they actually make some killer phones, and it would have been a bummer not to be able to run those in the United States. Alright, and next up we have two social media stories. First of all, Instagram is working on letting people post from the website. So currently on the website you can't post stories or just general posts or anything, and people very soon will be able to post files straight from their computer to make Instagram posts. You won't be able to make stories, but that seems sensible because it would be pretty weird making a story on your laptop. But this is pretty helpful because many people edit pictures on their laptop or desktop before posting them, and it's interesting how it took them that long to finally come up with this, but it's coming very soon. Don't have a set date for that, but just look out for that. It's coming soon. And the interesting thing is that an interview with the CEO tells us that they're not going to make an app for the iPad though, which is weird. Right now for the iPad app, it's just a scaled up version of the phone app, so it's nothing special, but I would really want them to make an iPad app just because I feel like there are people out there who edit on their iPad and post from their iPad. Alright guys, and so our final story for today before we get into the killer tech deals is that Bev Standings has sued TikTok for using her voice in the text-to-speech feature. If you don't know the text-to-speech feature, it's literally a viral feature. I believe TikTok added this like 3 to 6 months ago, and so basically Bev Standings gave some audio recordings for a different text-to-speech to a different company not related to TikTok at all, but now she's claiming that TikTok has somehow gotten their hands on this and using this in the viral feature, and she thinks that this has damaged her reputation a lot because people can pretty much get the text-to-speech to say anything, and if it does end up being her voice, this could actually be a big thing. Alright guys, so now let's get into the tech deals for this week. Starting off with the AMD Ryzen 5800X, and you can get this for around $399. And this is available at Micro Center, but unfortunately it's in-store only. And if you don't want to go in-store, or you don't have a Micro Center nearby because they only have 16 locations in the whole of United States, you can get this on Amazon for $419. And these are two of the lowest prices we've seen since they released last year, and I'm actually very happy to see that prices are slowly coming down for computer parts, especially since it's been a year since these insane spike of prices. And now next up, we've been covering M1 devices being on sale for quite some time, so I decided to include this one also. The M1 MacBook Air is still available for $899, which is $100 off at Amazon, and the MacBook Pro is available for $200 off at Costco, and this is the 512GB version at Costco, and the MacBook Air available in Amazon is the base version. Continuing on the trend of Apple devices being on sale, Woot still has the AirPod Pros at $190, which is $60 off the price tag. It's pretty good deal, especially since Apple Music is about to get a pretty big upgrade soon with the high fidelity audio. So if you need some good headphones with some pretty good noise cancellation and overall good experience on iOS, go for the AirPod Pros on Woot.com. And next up, the Nintendo Switch Pro controller is $59, which is $11 off the normal price tag. And now you're probably saying $11 is a pretty small sale, but it's actually a pretty good sale because Nintendo products, especially these controllers, don't come on sale much, so this is a steal. After that, the Logitech Folio Touch is now $128 on Amazon, which is $32 off, and this is for the iPad Pro. Unfortunately, the iPad Air version of this is not on sale, and I believe that is $129 right now, if you're wondering. Alright, so now our final deal, which I don't know if I want to consider a deal or not, but I just decided to include, is that Omaze is giving away a $20,000 budget to build a gaming setup or PC. And it costs nothing to enter, but if you decide to pay, the donations go to one of the foundations that they support, and it gives you more entries. And you can use code AFF50 for 50 extra entries if you wish. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for this episode. Again, another great week for tech news, and honestly I can't wait for June to roll around and WWDC because we will have so much to cover at that time. Don't forget to subscribe to my main YouTube channel, Mercy Man, and also don't forget to subscribe or follow on whichever platform you're watching this podcast on, because every tiny bit of support matters. We're really small right now. Let's take it a step forward, guys, and please share this with all your friends and make sure you are subscribed or followed on whichever platform you're watching on. But that's pretty much it for this week. Hope you guys all enjoyed. This is your host Akash Sharma signing off.